to the BAM Pod. All right, everybody, this is the BAM Pod. I'm your host, Big Ed, and you have just tuned in to a great show, man. I have got one of our Super 60 anglers out here. This is his first time ever doing a podcast. Let's welcome in Mr. Marty Lawrence. Marty, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
You bet. It should be fun.
Yeah, all year long last year, we kind of got to know each other up on the stage. We've seen you up there, and you're one of those anglers that, you've been doing this for a little bit of time, and I love to see, you're out there and you're having a good time on the water. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about on this show was some of the travel, because it's a lot of travel. I mean, you're down in Mesa, Arizona. You've got to travel up. We've got potholes this year. I mean, we've got Boardman, Oregon. There's a lot of travel this year. Now, we're going to be by your, but I think a little more closer to home this year, right? We do have, I don't know how close the last one was down there on the Colorado River. I don't know how close that was to where you live, but I think it was a lot closer than, potholes, right?
It's about 15 minutes to the. It's probably about 25 minutes to the turnoff into Catherine's Landing. So 30 minutes. 30 minutes, you're there, and 45 minutes you could be to one of your spots down in the lower part of the lake at Lake Mojave. So
nice. So you're gonna.
I don't know it as.
So you're gonna be pretty close.
I don't know it as well as I'd like to, but
yeah, I mean, we got some good events. I feel like this year. Have you kind of you've looked at the schedule, you've seen it. Were you excited about it at all when you saw it?
I've been excited about it since we started the other one, Apex. I've been excited about it, and I'm just glad that Mark stepped up and took it on and kept it the same. It is fun.
Right.
It's a fun format, and I mean, and we all of us kind of become friends over the last few years because we've all fished together for what is this, our fifth season,
right?
Almost fifth season, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I was gonna say, I've never really asked anybody what the comparison is between the two. Apex was one way, and Mark is running this thing a little different, I guess, but I think the format's still the same.
Right.
Is there any major, differences? Is it just leadership in the way it's being run now that's different?
Basically, that's what I feel. I mean, Mark's been a good friend since I met him too. It's been a few years now, but it's run. I feel that it's the same as what we had, and then Mark's just taking it a step further and beyond.
All right. Our next event, well, we've kicked off, the Pro-Am's kicked off up at Shasta. Great event, except for the one day where we had to, we had to cancel because of the wind. But, and I'll ask you that question. I mean, I asked the last guys, Alex and, that question. Did you feel like it was one of those things that it was like, yeah, it was probably a good idea to cancel that day?
Yeah. I did. I mean, a lot of the guys that I compete against, and well, first off, I'm not afraid of the big water because we compete on Lake Mead and Lake Mojave,
yeah.
And that gets to be big water. But I mean, all the guys up there that I'm competing against, actually they really know the place, and there's probably areas where you could really get out of it. But there's a couple areas right there that you got to go through just to get up into them areas, and I think they made the right call.
Yeah, we obviously safety is always going to be first in Mark's heart and in Michael's, and myself as well. I mean, we're out there to let you guys have fun, have a good tournament, and go. But we don't want anybody getting injured or worse.
Right. Exactly.
So I think that was great. Now we're moving on to Dawn Pager. We had to move the New Maloney's, and so this is going to be the this is going to be the Super 60. Yeah. I'm confused though because there's two back-to-back Dawn Pager. This is the Super 60 opener, right, on the 28th.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're coming up.
Well, 28th of March, or
28th of March.
Got
We got
the pro-am there
the
in a couple
pro am,
weeks.
yeah, the pro am's in a couple weeks, and then we have March 28th. Will be the opener of the Super C. Are you coming up for the pro am as well? I know you were at
Yeah.
the Shasta one.
Yep.
Okay, you're gonna come up to that one. Are you just staying? Are you gonna stay the whole month?
No, I would really like to. I mean, not being able to have the time on the water last year and so far
Yeah.
going into early 25, it shows in what I've done. But we're building a painting company, and
Mm.
it's just crazy right now. So I'm going to be fortunate enough to be able to put more time into it this year. So I think I'll have a lot better season, I think.
All right. I mean, we're looking forward to that. But we have the pro am coming up on February 28th, and then March 28th. I think it is. We have the Super 60 now with the pro am coming up there. We've got some good sponsors. One of our newest sponsors is kind of going to host the whole area right there in the Chicken Ranch, and that's going to be a great place to go and great place for people to stay. Now, we talked a little bit earlier, and you said you've had a whopping 10 hours of experience on that lake. Looking at it and being out there for 10 hours, what did you think overall? I mean, is this a lake that you feel like, what, this kind of suits my style, or is it something a little, different?
I think it does. It suits a lot of this stuff I like. I mean, I like to drag baits on the bottom and throw crankbaits and stuff like that. And when I was there the first of the month, that it was the fish were still down pretty deep and for the most part. And then I rolled over a point and I noticed some that were shallow, so I started fishing a little shallower and started catching them better fish. So hopefully that it's pretty much the same stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
but hopefully it's the same. If it's the same as it was a couple of weeks ago, then it should be a good. There should be going to be some big bags weighed anyways, competing with this bunch of guys that we're up against. And but it should be a good tournament unless Mother Nature gets involved.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see. I'm glad we saw it. It did make a little bit more work for me, but seeing last year, we had what 54, I think, anglers or I shouldn't say anglers, I should say, we had 54 boats sign up, and we had I think 45 co-anglers sign up last year, and this year we were what 135 and
Yeah,
like 130 or something like that for co's, and it was like, wow, this was absolutely impressive to see the numbers kind of start to show up. And I think Pedro is going to be that same thing. It's a lake that a lot of people love and a lot of people like to go down and fish it. I think the draw is about the same as if it would have been New Maloney's or one of the other bodies of water in that area. But Pedro is going to be a good fishery. What do you think? I mean, numbers wise, do you think that's going to be about the same thing? Kind of got showing up that 140 boats. I mean, it's a lot of, and it's a lot of boats. Do you like fishing against that many guys?
I like it. I like it a lot. That's why I'm still doing it and why I got back into it. But it's like, what is there? I mean, there's maybe six of us from here,
Yeah.
maybe. So it's hard competing against the guys that have experience out there. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're all fishermen. But those whenever I don't know, you just be in the right rock or the right point or whatever, and you can load your boat. So I mean, as long as you got some knowledge of it, but it's just going to be. I figure it's going to be somewhat like what happened at Shasta. I mean, this last week and the week before, some of them are going to be caught deep, and then I'm hoping that some of them will be up.
Yeah, that's what you kind of
And
talked about. You like to, you're I don't want to, I don't know how to put that. You're kind of a dragger. You like to throw jigs. You like to drag them on the bottom. You like to, work that sort of thing. With it when it comes to shallow like that, is that still what you like to do, or is it something that, hey, when they go shallow, I like to do, this? Are you were talking crankbaits a little bit? Is that part of what you do this time of year?
right, well, do shed from shallow too deep. with a
Mm.
bait. I mean, down 20 plus, I guess, but it's pretty much the same. You can throw them all year long, but some of them deeper lakes, you can't really get a crank down to, or they're anyways, but hoping it changes.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of one of those things, is when you're throwing crankbaits. I think that yeah, I mean they are so versatile. They have shallow running crankbaits, they have deep running crankbaits, and that sort of thing. And when if we talk about that a little bit, and I feel like this is one of those lakes that crankbaits. There's a lot of rock piles, there's a lot of rocks, there's a lot of good cover up there. That people do well on. Is it something that you think you're gonna? I guess how to ask that. Is what are you looking for when you're throwing that crankbait? Are you going to be looking deeper? Or are you going to be trying to, 18, 20 feet? Or are you going to try to say, no, I like to have that thing somewhere in that 10, 15, 5-foot range? I mean, what is that? What are you looking for?
Well, I'm going to start out. I mean, just start out with is up in the rocks and then work it out to 10, 12 feet probably. And then you don't got no followers or takers or whatnot, then try a little deeper, and if you still don't, then just change it up throughout the different parts of the lake. I mean, always keep it as a weapon, but
Yeah.
for the most part, if you're not getting any followers, then probably slow it down, and then you can bounce a little swim bait on the bottom. I do a lot of that too, and a lot of the finesse jigs, and can work them in different depths and different speeds, and so just got to have one of them tournaments where I can stay on the good ones and be all right.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to ask you next was, when you're talking about throwing jigs at that. Now, because we're in this pattern right now where it's, we're still winter. I mean, we haven't moved on yet. It hasn't gotten to spring. We haven't, but spring's not that far away. I mean, you're talking, I think what spring starts officially on March 22nd, 21st, somewhere in that range. So by the time we get to this tournament, I believe that we're going to be in spring, technically, early spring. Have you noticed this time of year that the fish have started to move towards that pattern of the spring pattern where they're like, hey, they're moving up and they want to get into spawning mode? Or is this still like, what, they're still in a winter pattern, you still got to go slow, that sort of thing?
Out here in the desert, we were back down at Martinez again last weekend, and those fish were up. And when it took us a minute, and we realized it, then we changed our game plan and we started catching them. But those fish are up, and they're getting ready to lock on. It's
Oh, wow.
so, but out there, I mean, the weather's completely different there most of the time.
Oh,
So
yeah, 100%.
I think
Pedro is definitely going to be different than
right.
down there.
If we don't get any crazy rain or whatnot, and that lake stays the same, I bet them fish should be spawning whenever we get there.
Okay. Oh, that would be,
Well,
like I said, you were up there for like 10 days or so. Did you, when you were there, now that was just before Shasta. So you came through, you got to fish. Was it before or after Shasta that you got to fish there?
it was the week before, because I left here on Friday and then went to there, and then went to the International Sportsman Show, and then went on up to Shasta.
Yeah, because that's going to
So
be, I mean, it has, since Shasta, it's still rained. Those lakes are coming up pretty good. And I think it's going to be interesting to see where these fish are at myself. I think that we're going to see some, like you said, these are some very good anglers. I mean, Pro-Am, it's going to be amazing. And, they're going to be there February 28th. And I know it's not spring quite then, but those fish should start thinking about that. The lakes are going to still be cold though. How does that really play into your jig patterns? I mean, do you like it when it's cold for throwing jigs, or are you looking for it? You were hoping it's a little warmer.
What the flock are you waiting for? California's newest luxury entertainment destination, Chicken Ranch Casino Resort, is ready to play. Experience laid-back luxury in our modern hotel, a casino floor with views of the Sierra, and diverse restaurants and bars that'll keep you squawking for more. Experience the all-new Chicken Ranch Casino Resort, located just 60 minutes from Yosemite National Park. Visit playchickenranch.com to book your trip today.
Either way, I mean, it's when it's cold, them fish will get down on the bottom.
Okay.
When I was catching fish there at Lake Shasta last week, there was mud on their bellies.
Oh, wow.
Got several of them with that still on their belly when I brought them up, and so
they're
yeah, if
so
we're
they're just sitting. Yeah,
dragging baits by them, they're going to eat it.
Yeah, so they're just sitting there, kind of waiting around, and if you can get up there and find them, what's your big way of finding them? I mean, are you a forward facing guy? Are you just traditional, looking for them when they're on the bottom like that? Are they really hard to pick out? I mean, how are you seeing them? How are you noticing they're there, other than just fan casting?
Right, they're hard to find whenever they get down there, but I've forcing myself to use the forward facing sonar more. I mean, other than that, I'm pretty much traditional old school guy, and but I'm forcing myself to use that more. And when I have noticed as I'm going along, that you see one, will bounce it or just pop up off the bottom and then go right back down, and then so that kind of clue into stuff like that. 'Cause I don't actually use it to target them until I do find a school on it. But basically, I'm just using it as I'm scanning down the running bank or on points or whatnot. But on my mapping and stuff like that to find the offshore stuff, and then once I get on that, then I use it a little bit more. But it's cool. It's cool technology, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. It's one of those things that I think when people really think about forward facing, or they really think of the young guys coming up and that sort of thing. How has it been difficult for you to learn that, or is it something that it just you kind of, the more you use it, the better you get at it?
Well, whenever I got into this tournament fishing years ago, I mean, and then when I quit fishing, the paper graph and the damn uh, flasher was the top deal then.
Right.
And I mean, and then when I get back into it, you got all this other stuff, because I stayed out of it for a while and got back in 2010, and then 11 I started fishing circuits, and I wanted to do it again, and worked my way up through and qualified for some things, and it was just then it just took over.
Okay.
But the technology, I mean, you gotta learn it. I mean, because if you don't, they're beating you. No way around it. You got to learn it, whether you're an old guy like myself or traditional. I mean, sure, there's going to be times where that you get that acorn, but there's going to be a lot more times you get your butt spanked by these guys, young, and some of the older fellas out there that are really taking off with it.
Yeah, I mean, not to call him old, but I mean, I go out with Mark fishing, and that's he's on that thing. He likes that forward facing sonar, and he goes out there and does well, using it. And it's not something that it's not what we're trying to go on this show or anything like that, or talk about it. But it was just one of those questions that's like, is it harder? I used to have a friend of mine that's all he would use is the paper. I mean, he was a paper graph guy, even when it was obsolete and finding the paper was a hard thing to do. He had cases of it that he bought, and he would use it. And it's when you said that, it's just funny to think back, and I can just see him out there smoking his cigar, sitting on the front of his boat and watching his paper graph, and that was his way of doing it. And that's, same kind of thing, he was a dragger of jigs. He liked doing that, and it was fun, and and I just look at the way we have this. We've got like I said, we got the Pro-Am coming up, and it's going to change. I mean, from the Pro-Am to the Super 60, it's going to change that, that water. Even though you're going to be on the same lake, it's going to be different. There's no practice when you go to that Super 60. There's no looking at it. There's no going up there. How do you really, prepare yourself for, or do you, I guess, for these Super 60 events? I mean, there's no, I mean, you're getting no, there's no advantage. There's no way to go up there and get locked in on something beforehand and then go out there and execute it. So how do you really prepare
Right.
for Super 60?
You just that's one thing that's cool about this circuit and the format is you just go out there and go fishing.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I mean, you got to know. It helps to know the place. I mean, we're getting watching videos and whatever else we can research on it, and then fortunately we've all become friends. So there's a lot of the guys that we're fishing against. They'll give you little tidbits here and there, and so we kind of share some of that. They're not going to give you the juice, which that's fine. I mean, but you just go fishing. I do wish the pro-am was after the Super 60 because then that would make it even easier on us. But now we're all going to be up there fishing the pro-am, and then we go back in a couple of weeks. But that's all in all, it's good. It is, and it is going to change especially if you
Right.
get weather between the pro-am till then. But if it continues to warm, they're just going to start coming up in waves, and then there'll be at a certain time there's just going to be no turning back. But
Yeah,
it could
I
be
was gonna
a slugfest up there come March
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
next
say.
this
I
month
was gonna
too.
say
So
that I feel like that's gonna be the biggest change, right? Is it's gonna go from February 28th to March 28th. That's gonna be a heck of a change. I mean, those fish, like you just said, those fish should be starting to really get up on beds.
right, there's probably going to be a grip of them that are already spawning, and then but there's going to be we should be able to. Well, we'll know come the pro-am what exactly about pretty much what's going to happen a month later.
Yeah.
So,
I was
but
gonna, let me
this
let me
month
ask you that. How is your? I mean, you fish those water now. When I was on the Colorado River down there, we were out there filming, doing that stuff, watching you guys go. That was some amazingly clear water. I mean, if there would have been an ant walking on the bottom, you'd have seen him. How is it?
oh yeah.
How is your your sight fishing game when it comes to coming up to some of the waters up here? I mean, is it so different? Is it tougher? Is it you're just like, whatever. I can do it.
It's it's tough anywhere. I'm not really all that good at it. I mean,
Hmm.
whenever I see them, I catch them for sure. But I know there's a lot of guys that can see them a hell of a lot quicker than I can. But I mean, guys going down the bank just running and they'll see them. But I got to be going pretty slow to catch a glimpse of them. Hopefully, I got some new glasses uh, that that I got at the Sportsman Show, and it really brightens everything up. So maybe this year I'll be able to see them a little better.
All right. I mean, that's definitely going to be. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know. That's going to be an interesting one for me to when I'm out there. I'm just interested in watching some of the best guys. I mean, that's like you said. I mean, the pro-ams are one thing. There are some top anglers coming out that have fished these waters for a long time, and then you get to that Super 60, and you're just talking about some. I mean, just some absolute cream of the crop sticks out there. Throwing some bait. I mean, Randy Pearson. He'll be out there this year. I mean, we've got some guys. I mean, there's just like yourself out there. I mean, there's just I'm so excited to see what happens this year on some of these bodies of water. I mean, I've never been to potholes. I don't know if you've ever been up there or not, but the guys that I've
No,
talked to that have been up there, they go, "Oh, you guys, trust me, you're gonna love it when you get up there." And I'm excited to see what you guys can do on the water up there and how you can attack a water like that. And they said it is absolutely awesome. Got to go up to Boardman last year. I fished it a little bit myself with Mark, and I went out there. Oh my gosh, that is crazy fishing up there. I'm just looking forward to this year. I think it's going to be a good year. Like I said, I love watching you guys come across the stage, what you can do, how you can do it, and it's been super fun to be up there on the stage with you guys. And you're one of my favorites to actually watch, Marty, whether you believe it or not. I love having you guys, having you up on the stage and getting out there and doing it, man. You guys, I mean, it's just amazing to watch what you guys can do. Coming up to Pedro a little bit, you're going to be, you've already got a jig, you already got a crankbait. We talked about it. Is there anything else that you really go, you know what, this is something if this is going on, this is what I like to do? Is there one bait that, I mean, you talked about some of the swim baits, and that's some of the small swim baits, the Kitex. Are you, is there something else you really like to do?
Yeah, I just throw crankbaits and jigs and spinnerbait. You always got to have a spinnerbait tied on. I mean,
Okay.
That's old school stuff there, but I throw a lot of the little swim baits. I haven't gotten into the big swim bait game, but by God, after watching them weights at Shasta with that Alex Nappis, man, makes a guy want to start throwing those things.
Right?
But
I mean, there's something to what he does that makes it just special, right?
I think you just got to commit to it, and I haven't done that.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, he'd have probably go out there, just throw one bait, and it's hard.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I think, when I interviewed him and we talked about it, and I've talked to, 3 in the last couple weeks, or in the last month on this show now. I've talked to, a couple really good guys, one from the East Coast, one from the West Coast, and Alex himself out here. And we talked about that swim bait and throwing it, and, some of it about throwing them during tournaments and that sort of thing. And it's I mean, I'm kind of in the boat with you on that one. I feel like, man, that is such a risk, because I've caught a lot of fish on swim baits, and I absolutely love throwing them. I think they're great, but tournament fishing is a whole lot different. And I feel like I'm kind of where you're at. It's like, man, that's a big if right there. And and Alex goes out and he does it, and it's very interesting to watch. That's for sure. And I have this sneaking suspicion that come Don Pedro, he may be throwing them again.
I think a bunch of us are going to have one tied on. I'm going to put a little more time in it myself, but coming for so far, you really want to show good, and if you get into check range or better, then that's cool. That's kind of my outlook of it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty much in the I'm not saying I'm pretty much gonna lose it off the bat. I mean, that's most of the ones this last season is just all because of the mistakes I made myself. I mean,
right.
But other than and I'm afraid to compete with these guys, or I wouldn't be out there doing it.
Right, and I don't think that's it at all, right? It's not fear at all about competing against these guys or going out and putting your skills on the line. It's the fact that it is, no one goes into this losing, right? You don't come all the way from Mesa, Arizona and go, you know what, I'm just going to go up there so I can lose. That's not what you're shooting for.
Right.
But I can, it's a good question to ask, is like, what are your goals when you have to go that far? You're going to a lake that you've seen it for 10 hours. Other than, just saying, well, I go for the win. It's like, that's everybody's going for the win. That's that's a given, right? But how do you pace?
Right.
How do you pace yourself and make decisions? And what do you make your goals when you come to a lake like that?
Well, the goal is always to make the cut or stay in check range, and
Right.
or just or make the championship at the end of the season. That's kind of the three things right there.
Okay.
But just in my opinion, I mean, like I said, we're competing against these guys are good, and they're just very good, I should say. And you give them a chance. You can't make mistakes, is what I meant to say, or they make you pay.
Tackle Warehouse has been the premier online tackle shop since 2003, with a huge selection of not only the latest and greatest from the biggest brands, but the hard-to-find regional specialties as well. Tackle Warehouse. Click, save, fish.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
get that. I've seen that. I mean, we were on Mark Pilgrim's water last year. We were on Lake Almanor, and we'll be back up there again this year. I think for the championship though, and it's one of those things that you know, he didn't win it. And this is a guy who guides on that lake. He's on that lake all the time. And, not to rub it into his face or anything else, because Mark is a heck of an angler. He's, this is, I honestly thought it was his to win, but, or I shouldn't say his to win, but his to lose, really. And unfortunately he did, didn't come in, I'm sure, where he wanted to, which was first place. But that just shows how good these guys are. I mean,
right.
um, the and now I'm sitting here blanking his name, the guy who actually ended up winning, back to back tournaments and going up there and doing it on that water. I mean, it's just crazy how to watch him do that. To watch him do that and come out there, go down to Martinez, win down there, go to Almanor, win up there. It's like that is some very different water, and it just shows how good these anglers are, And you're out there competing with them, so I mean you are holding your own, and you're doing a great job out there. I'm sure you haven't come in exactly where you wanted to every time, but setting goals for for this whole deal. You've been doing, like you said, you did the Apex for a while, and now and now you're on the BAM trail, and you made this, you're doing the Super 60, which is a huge game changer for the whole West Coast at this point. The entry fee and the amount that it's putting out, the $50,000 for 2,500. I know so many people were excited about that and said this is this is going to change the way the West Coast is. But that's I don't know. I just watch you guys do this, and it's amazes me how skillful you really are, and you take what you do to a whole nother level, because there are guys out there that do exactly what you do, and they can never catch what you catch. So you're doing something so much different, man, with the way that you're fishing that jig, or the way you're doing this. Is it, and I don't, and I don't want you to give away all your secrets on it, all that, but I kind of want you to give away all your secrets. I mean, is there something special that you do when you're dragging a jig out there? Is there something that you're looking for, or, what is it?
Well, I drag it as slow as you possibly can is the one thing that I do. I mean, just feel it crawling up over the rocks. I mean, you don't see too often. You don't see a crawdad just take off and go swimming. I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to mimic, unless they pooped out of the rocks. But then they'll move, but they don't go very far. And so they're more natural if you keep it tight to the bottom as best as you can, and move it as slow as you can. And I find sometimes I get to moving, if I'm throwing a heavier jig, I'll get to going too fast, and then I'll throw like you go from a half ounce to 3/8, and that one makes you slow down even more, just to keep bottom contact. And like I was working that 3/8 jig at Shasta up there in 50s to 60 feet of water.
Holy moly.
And if it wasn't for that tungsten, you wouldn't really feel nothing.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a good one right there. So you're, you pretty much, is that something you switch to completely? Just, you just only throw tungsten, or is it, you're still, you still have some lead ones, or is that kind of a thing of the past now? You feel?
Yeah, I throw the lead jigs in the heavy, the 3/4 to 5/8 and 1 ounce. I've got a selection of all them, and a half ounce lead, but for the most part, I'll throw the little micro jig, the Kitech with the small, just a small profile.
Okay. Now, I was gonna say, are you looking? Lake. Yeah, I was gonna say, are you looking for? I guess there's every, I don't know. I hear, small bait, and you think small fish, right? But that's obviously not the case. You're taking a small profile bait. Is that something that just because the smaller the profile, the more realistic it looks? What is it that kind of makes you want to stay small like that?
Yeah, I mean, I like to work the small profile for fishing for smallmouth bass, and and I use it a lot. I mean, whenever they get real finicky, I mean, you can entice them to bite sometimes more with a smaller one.
Okay.
And then a lot of times you can get into areas where, like with the our format, you get into an area catching a bunch of 14 inchers, and that could be just the ticket right there too.
Yeah,
So,
that's one thing I was going to say. When you start talking about that, when you're looking at the different formats, the pro-ams are, best five, do what you can. With you got keeper count with the with the pro tour. The Super 60 is now is that format is so different, and I guess you kind of already said that that's pretty much how you adjust, right? I mean, if you get into them and you're catching a bunch of 14, 15 scoreable fish, right? You stick with that smaller one, but if you're not, do you just switch up and go, nope, I'm going for a big fish at this point, try to get my biggest five? That format is kind of interesting to me.
right. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not against catching 14 inchers all day. Not against it at all.
Yeah. I mean, it makes
But
for better,
the
but a
big ones
funner
will
day
eat
out
that
there.
the big ones will eat that bait too. And when you get in the right area, yeah.
I guess I should ask you that. It's one of those things that, do you find that if you're catching 14, 15-inch fish, is it pretty much like, what, that's what's down there, that's what I'm going to be catching, that's what I'm in? Or is it such a thing that, what, there's always big fish around, even when there's that consistently smaller fish? And on a 14-inch, 15-inch fish, that is not exactly a small fish, it's just a scoreable bass. But is that one of those things that you look at and go, okay, if I'm in this, I got to find bigger fish, so I got to move somewhere else? Or do you continue to fish those areas and go, no, there's a big one down there, I just got to get him to eat?
Well, if we're fishing the pro-am, then, I mean, you can stick around there and catch them, and might every 10th fish maybe go up an ounce. It's time to maybe move.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Super 60, you sit there and catching one after another that are scoreable keepers, and I wouldn't move. I mean, but then again, you got to look at the final day when everything
Right.
zeros, and then if you don't, then you might not come in too well on that day. But
well, and I've heard guys, like Ken Maw talk about that, and even Luke, when he won down in the Delta and stuff. There's some point, at some point, you have to think about what you just said. You have to think about that final day when you're looking at the you're looking at the event and you're sitting there going, okay, I got to make it either by keepers or I got to make it by weight. But at some point, like you just said, you've got to start thinking about, on the last day, it's zero and it's the best five.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's kind of nice that you can see the keeper count going on. And when do you pick, you know what, I'm going all in on keepers or all in on weight, or I've got to save a bunch of fish for the last day?
Well, for one, I haven't had that opportunity yet. And as soon as I get that opportunity, I'll be glad to do another podcast with you. But no, I did good at the championship a couple years ago at Folsom, and then I had a few areas. One area it ended up just being small, and I had another rock pile around the corner, and then the fish seemed to be a bit bigger. So then, I mean, if you got a couple areas where you've caught decent ones, then yeah, I guess you could just stay with it. But you got to run on like the final day. You'll have to run and gun and hope for the best. But kind of way I go into it anyways. And
okay,
because we don't know the lakes or nothing out there off other than friends letting us know, and then what we can research. And unless we're fortunate enough to, hopefully this year, I'd be fortunate enough to where I could get out there pre-practice to get some knowledge of it before the pro-ams, and then go back for those events.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about this year. You're going to have a little bit more time, and hopefully, you're going to get some time on those waters. I mean, there's the California Delta. We're not at Clear Lake this year. We're going to, there's some good fisheries. I mean, we were just at Shasta, which was a difficult fishery, especially this time of year. It's always there's a reason why almost every tournament circuit goes up there this time of year. It's one of the only lakes that fishes as well as it does. Um, but we've got some nice waters coming up. We got Mojave down there. That should be one that you're going to probably be able to get out on that one a little bit earlier and get some time on that
Right.
water.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely get a little bit more time on there.
but when it comes to when it comes to a place like, I don't know, we're going to go all the way to the potholes. Is there how do you how do you address? I mean, is it, you said it before. It's like, I just go fishing. Is that pretty much how you're going to have to address that? Or are you going to take some time and go up there maybe 2 weeks ahead of time? Because I don't know when the cutoff is. That's exactly. I don't know the exact date that the cutoff is, but to go up there and see it at all, are you going to be able to go up and see something like that?
Well, I don't think I don't know if the Super 60 is not going to potholes, right?
I don't think so. But I guess,
Right. So the
but
pro-am.
yeah, the pro am. That's right. So there's no cutoff on that one. You can go up there and fish it, right? So yeah, trust me, my schedule looks crazy, so I get them always confused. But it's one of those ones that you're going to be able to go up there, and I guess that's the question: is are you going to be able to go up and see that body of water before actually fishing it?
I'm hoping so. If not, then I'll do kind of like what I did at Shasta. Was I could have gone up a couple of days before it went into off limits, and then it opened back up for practice. And we'll probably do something like that again if I'm not able to get up there before then. We'll just go up the weekend before,
Yeah.
fish the weekend, and then off limits Monday and Tuesday. Then your practice starts Wednesday and Thursday. So
Okay.
get a
Now,
couple extra days out of the way too, and just research.
how are you gonna do that? Are you gonna drive all the way up there, drop your boat and everything else off, and then like fly home, or are you going to just take the whole time and stay up there?
Just stay up there.
Nice. I mean, that's a
I
long
mean,
drive. I mean, that's a long, long drive, right? I mean, you're what, 20 something hours?
probably 18 hours.
Yeah. That's a long drive up there, but it should be worth it. It's something new to see, something, you haven't done before. So that'll be a fun tournament up there. I'm excited. I can't wait to get up there, and I'm just going to fly up. So,
Yeah,
uh,
no, it's the whole schedule is just it's just awesome. Hopefully I can fish all the pro-ams too, but if not, I'm going to be at all the uh Super 60s for sure, but
right.
hopefully we'll be able to break away to catch the pro-ams as well.
Had you ever been up to Boardman and fished the Columbia up there before this? I mean, I'm guessing I think I think Apex was up there,
Apex,
right?
we were up there twice.
Oh, you were up there twice. Okay. I mean, how was
But
that fishery? I
actually,
mean, I got to fish it once and I absolutely thought it was crazy, but is that something did you like do you like fishing up there? And I guess that'll lead me
it's
to this
amazing.
the last question I was going to ask you or not going to last one, but one of the last questions I was going to ask you was smallmouth, largemouth. Which one is your favorite? And up there, it was definitely a smallmouth fishery.
Well, definitely. I just got a thing for smallmouth bass.
Hmm.
I like them all, but smallmouth are usually whenever I'm in a place where they're at, I'll target them as if they're. I mean, if
Yeah.
they're big, then you can target them and have a good chance at winning a tournament with them. But most of the places you fish, you can't win with them.
Yeah.
But Lake Mojave, Lake Havasu, and stuff like that, and a lot of times of the year, you win with them. I mean,
Oh,
they're big.
yeah, that was definitely something I was noticing up there. out of Boardman was the fact that those were some quality smallmouth up there. They were, and they were in schools of like 30. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy fishery. It's an amazing fishery. Just the few times that I have been there, and just I love it.
Yeah, it's a river fishery, and I know that you fish right there on the Colorado quite a bit. I don't, I'm guessing that's one of your other bodies of water you fish besides Mojave. Are you more of a lake guy, or do you like the rivers, or you just not care? So I like to go fishing.
Hey folks, Randall and I want to talk to you real quick about choosing the right electronics mount for your bass boat.
Mark and I have been partnered with Bass Boat Technologies from the very beginning, and we know the quality and effort that Van Foster has put into this company.
Custom, that's the one thing that I think about whenever I think of Bass Boat Technologies. Van Foster has spent years, not hours, years perfecting these mounts. He works with just about every bass boat company out there, most models for every bass boat company out there. He has spent the time working on these bass boats. So what you get is a custom fitted mount, not some mass produced universal mount for every bass boat out there. Van makes them custom fit for your bass boat.
Bass Boat Technologies also makes a lot of other custom parts. Seat pedestal plugs, tool holders, steering wheel spacers, and battery trays are all made with the same attention to detail that Bass Boat Technologies is known for.
Bass Boat Technologies is a vital part of our livelihood, and it's very important to your overall boating experience also.
Absolutely, and that's why we choose Bass Boat Technologies. Check them out at bassboattech.com. You'll be glad you did.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Just like fishing. I mean, the rivers are cool. I mean, it's especially the big rivers like that, like the Columbia and stuff like that. The Colorado, there's a couple of areas like at Parker and right down below Lake Mojave. There's a few areas between there and Havasu where the fishing's good up in the river.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm not really all that knowledgeable of that part of the river, but I have gone up in there a couple times and caught fish pretty good. But other than that, we're pretty much reservoir.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen any of those down there. Those reservoirs down there, and this is going to be really awesome for me to be down there and see some of them, and or one at least this year. And I think it should be really interesting. I'm gonna love seeing what can be done down there. Is there a preview? What do you think? I mean, what's a good solid weight that you think is going to come out of there daily?
Just the best five.
Yeah, best five
in May. May, I would say I would have to go 16 to 22 probably.
Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's definitely they're coming back to put the feedback back on April and May.
Okay, yeah, because that was when I was when we were down there fishing the Colorado. It was amazing. That thing to me was absolutely amazing just to see. You're driving around down there and it's like, oh, it's just a river, and then you turn left into a bush, and when you come out the other side of the bush, it's like you're in a giant lake, and you're in this water that's so crystal clear, and you're looking down going, oh, look, there's a 9-pounder just sitting there, and a 8 and a 12 and a it was absolutely amazing. I don't think I'd ever seen anything quite like that. And the way those guys had to fish it, flipping these little things, and then having that's the other. I was going to ask you. So when you go down, what lake is it we're fishing down there?
Lake Mojave.
Lake Mojave. Okay, so I got too many in my head now. So you got Lake Mojave going down there, and then is there a mussel problem on that lake? I don't know if it's a problem or if it just are there mussels in that lake? Because I know a lot of guys when we were fishing in the
There,
river were like, yeah, you'll hit a branch or something and it's just covered and you snap your line. Is that a thing down there?
yes, yeah. You really gotta take care of your line there. I mean, it's got I think it's, I don't know what they call the zebra mussels or
Yeah.
something like that. And all three of those, well, actually, Lake Powell does two up above,
Okay.
and then Meade, Mojave, and then Havasu.
Okay. Has it been a negative other than that? The zebra mussels, that sort of
No,
thing?
no,
No. Okay.
that's not a negative at all.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's some people that,
So,
there's
I
some people that have
mean,
said there have been, and others that are just like, nah, I don't even notice or care.
as well as I know Lake Mojave, I mean, I could probably count the trees I know of in the water on
Mhm.
both on my hands.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of other structure in there, but at times you hear the grass and rocks and stuff like that. So, and these fish still just thrive. The largemouth in there, it's just it's an amazing fishery. Period. Largemouth and smallmouth.
And what's the food source down there? What's Mojave really known for as far as, is it just what do they have in there as far as
It's
what are these fish eating?
right. What I know of, I mean, there's got the threadfin shad, and I think the gizzard shad are in there, and
Okay.
then maybe there's another kind of, I don't know what it's called, but I've seen just a massive school of this little fish, and
Hmm.
it wasn't a threadfin shad, I know that, but there's just a lot of it.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah,
But
it's
the gizzard shad are in there.
the what are?
The gizzard shad,
Oh yeah, the gizzard shad. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's
and
one
then
of those, like I said,
threadfin
it's
and
it's
crawfish.
one that I don't know that a lot of people get to fish. I think it's going to be interesting to watch the show. It's going to be for a lot of people to see some of these things. I mean, if you haven't been down, if you're listening now and you haven't been down that way, there's some really good fisheries down there in the desert. I was really surprised when we got down there at how just beautiful that area really was down there when you get around the water. When you're not, it's a
Right.
little more deserty, but other than that, um,
Yeah, it's
Marty.
just it's an amazing fishery. It's gin clear water, bathtub clear water. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah.
can catch them spawn when they're spawning. You can see them down there. You think they're, oh well, that's only a 2 pounder, and you get that sucker to bite. When you bring him up, he's 4.5 to 5 because they're so far down there when you finally get to them, and it's fun. So,
Yeah, I definitely noticed it was one sitting on a bed. We were filming next to Mark. I think it was, yeah, Mark Pilgrim, and I looked over and I was like, wow, that is a big fish right there. And he goes, yeah, that's the one I'm waiting on. So get off him. It's like, okay. So, but it was, I mean, he said it was close to 15. He never got to bring it in, but he said it was close to 15. It's like, wow, that's impressive to see something that big down there. And obviously they're not being hurt too bad by any of the mussels or that sort of thing. So that's good. But we're coming down to the end of this show. Marty, you've been a great guest on here, but if you're out here on the West Coast, you know who Marty is. You see him come across the stage up there. You see him fishing for, I don't know, how long you been fishing? I mean, other than going all the way back to your childhood, I mean, we've all been fishing since we were a kid, right? But how long you been fishing kind of, you said what, 2010? So 15 years you've been doing tournaments or longer or what?
well, I did it back in the '80s. In the early '80s, I really got interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and my dad would fish tournaments, and then I kept doing it through then, and then life happened and addiction, and then I just wasted it on that, and then I cleaned up in 2008, and that's actually what saved my life, is because I got back into it, and I used to just jump around the local ponds and stuff like that, and got the bug again. I bought an old boat, and in 2009 and rebuilt it, an old Ranger 372 in 1982,
Wow.
and rebuilt it and got back after it and fished through 2009. And I fished one tournament in 2010, and there was like 80 boats, and I finished 13th. And then I was, you know what, we're going to pursue it. And then I started fishing some other circuits with a couple of team partners in 2011, and did really good that year and then beyond. And then started fishing the FLW. Always wanted to do that as a kid, and so I find it fortunate enough to be able to do it and fish my first one in 2013 at Roosevelt, and got the bug, and then fished all of them in 14, and then kept going. But after I cleaned up, I set some goals, and I wanted to fish on the FLW Tour, and I qualified for that in 2018. We fished the tour in 2019.
Nice.
And well, then the Apex came along. I got invited to fish that, and it was I kind of fit in, and developed a friendship with a whole bunch of people out there in the West Coast, and we still were all just friends. And so then I got invited to fish with the BAM and jumped right on it.
Man, that's awesome. You know, there's always one thing that kind of comes with you, and I don't want to say thing. There's one person that's always there, man. I at every event that I can't remember when I haven't seen your wife at one of these events, man. That's got to be just absolutely amazing to have your wife follow with you, come along with you, and be with you out there. How long has she been on the trail with you?
So we started. That's actually how we met, through Matt Shura, and they were friends, and she was always bugging Matt to take her fishing. And he told her, get on the Arizona Bass Zone and find somebody else to take you fishing. And then she got on there, and I responded to it, and we went fishing a couple times, and then that was it. We've been together going on 12 years now, and married for 2.
Wow. So you've been together for 12, you've been married for 2, and she's just that much into fishing enough to hang out with you the entire time. That's awesome.
She likes it as much. Well, I can't say that. She really likes to fish, but when it comes to a windstorm or a rainstorm, I can't say what she tells me, but because we're going to be live. But she don't want no part of that. But we fish a lot of the local team tournaments whenever we can do it. But she likes to fish the night stuff.
Okay.
And we do a lot of the night tournaments here, and in the summertime. But she don't like to get out in the rain and the snow, and I like it. I like all of it. I like everything from the travel. I mean, when we jumped into the FLW, we qualified for all the championships all them years too, in Kentucky and Alabama, Tennessee, and that's just as cool.
Yeah.
To me as fishing the event. And then when I cleaned up and I was able to have my mom and dad and my wife on the majority of them, that we mom and dad would jump right in the truck and we'd be on the road, and I don't stop. And
yeah.
Like, and then we started off, and then they had my dad for 13 years on the road.
Wow.
Pretty much just going back and forth across the country.
Yeah, that's,
but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that's absolutely, for me, that's always part of it too. The travel is the fun part, I was a truck driver for 25 years, so I was used to traveling, but I, like you, it's like, it's really neat seeing those new places and, being in places, especially when you get to see really famous waters, where it's like, oh, I've always wanted to fish here. I got to fish Gunnersville last year, and I got to see some of these new waters. I've been down on Okeechobee. It's like, wow, it's really kind of cool to see those kind of waterways like that. But what's always interesting to me is that you think about that, but you live on Mojave, right next to Mojave. You live, you're not that far from Clear Lake, the Delta up in California, that sort of thing. You're right next to all these great historic waters, yet we don't think about them that way necessarily, do we? Really?
No, it's funny though too, because you're absolutely right. I mean, look, Clear Lake's the best lake in the nation.
Right.
I mean, look at what it's putting out right now. I mean, maybe not 365 days a year,
right?
But by God, you go up there right now, and you have a chance to catch a 50-pound bag.
Right.
I mean, guys are doing it. I mean, pretty damn close. But all the historic lakes from back whenever bass first started, and out Gunnersville and Alabama, and all them lakes there, and then Lake Chickamauga,
yeah,
and Kentucky Lake, Lake Barkley, Dale Hollow. I was able to fish all those places whenever I got back to traveling in the FLW, and then whenever we got on the tour, then we was able to go to when we went to Chickamauga, and then we were at Lake Champlain.
Oh, wow.
If that's a couple hours away.
Yeah, that's some, it's some good waterways out there. And it's awesome that you've been all over the country. You've fished everywhere, and now you're over here on the West Coast fishing with us at BAM. We really appreciate it, Marty. I got to wrap the show up at this point. Again, I just want to say thanks for tuning in and listening. And Marty, thank you for coming on and doing this, man. You got a wealth of knowledge out there. I really appreciate you dropping some of us. And we'll see you soon, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for thinking about me and asking me to do it. I was kind of skeptical at first, but there's not 100 people standing out in front of me, so I think I'll be all right. But I'll get better at that stage too.
That's all right, man. This is how it works. If you go out and you win one of these events, I get to have you back on the show here. So go out there and let's see you win one this year, man, so we can have you back on the show and talk about how you did it. But right now, guys, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Marty had a wealth of knowledge out there. We talked a lot about some of the fishing coming up, some of the things that are going forward. And you know what? If you didn't get all the information, go back and listen again. He's got a lot on there. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in a couple weeks with a brand new episode and another great angler just like Marty Lawrence.